for the crown, among them the defending champion Magnus Magnussen, who won in spectacular style last year in Sun City. Other favourites include the Briton Gary Taylor himself, a former champion, and the South African Gerrit Badenhorst. It's certain to be a tough competition, testing strength, fitness, endurance, and the men's ability to deal with the intense heat and humidity of this environment.
This could be the greatest strength contest ever, and it's all due to 10 men who desperately want to be called the world's strongest man. It seems almost impossible that Gerrit Badenhorst can be as dominant in the final as he was in the heats, but one thing is for sure, he's in the form of his life. The defending champion Magnus Magnussen will certainly have a psychological edge over the rest, but can he become the first man ever to win 2 in a row? It's over 10 years since an American won World's Strongest Man. If Phil Martin wants to win this final, he'll have to produce something special. Heinz Olesch gains in confidence with every test that you set before him. Don't let the amiable smile deceive you, though. He's a ruthless competitor. Joe Onosai is by far the heaviest man in this final, which will help in some events, but has he the stamina needed to cope with the most severe tests? Wayne Price, recent training stints with Gary Taylor have certainly paid dividends. He's bigger and stronger than ever before. Flemming Rasmussen's reputation has increased dramatically during the heats. He thrives on competition, especially head-to-head confrontations. Magnus Samuelsson was a revelation in a heat which produced the most dramatic moment of World's Strongest Man so far. Nathan Jones' devastating injury. Gary Taylor came through the heats unscathed, unlike last year. It's full steam ahead now to see if he can win his second title in 3 years. Marco Varalahti displayed tremendous speed and agility for such a big man in his heat. Finland's new super strongman could be a surprise package in this final.
The contest begins east of Nassau at Montague Bay. Here the competitors seem to face an impossible task.
I must admit, you look more relaxed than possibly I've ever seen you before, but are you nervous?
What's that? Oh, just a little bit maybe, yeah.
Gerrit, you've been a finalist for a number of years now, but this one I think may be the most important of all.
Yeah, I'm quite fit this year, in good shape, and positive injury here and there, but otherwise I think I will do well this year.
Do you really think you can win this time?
I wouldn't be here if I didn't think I could win.
If I do really well on this event, this first event, then I think it'll set the pace for the rest of the finals, and I think I'll win.
Well, Joe is certainly optimistic, but the weather forecasters are less confident. The beginnings of a storm, perhaps. The prospect of having to pull this massive fire truck over the course would fill most men with fear. And it's Denmark and Flemming Rasmussen, the first to get strapped into this big harness, which will take the strain to pull one of the heaviest objects ever seen in World's Strongest Man competition. Pulling lorries, cars, boats, and even an aeroplane once is a traditional event for a world final, and Rasmussen is well away. The secret is to stay low. He's well down the course now, and Rasmussen keeping in good form. The truck is really cruising along now. It weighs 40,000 kilograms. The front of the truck must go over the yellow line. 39.1 seconds, and that really is a cracking start to the final by the Dane. Marco Varalahti up next, and we saw how good he was at this sort of event when he was pulling the cars in his heat. Rasmussen's time in the top left-hand corner. Oh, the Finn is looking a little ragged here, not the same fluency as Flemming. That looks a little better, he's really driving those legs. His 2 coaches are screaming encouragement to him. He looks on target to go into the lead. The Finnish supporters are going to be very happy with this effort. 36.24, nearly 3 seconds better. There really are some big men there waiting to go, and Gary Taylor is next up. Gerrit Badenhorst goes after the Welshman. Gary Taylor not renowned for pulling great beasts like this one, but he's really fired up for this first event, and he's got away to a good start. Looks as though he's wearing javelin boots to get extra grip. He's got some way to go, but he's giving this one everything. Gary Taylor, 20-odd stones of solid muscle. He's got to keep low now. 36.3 seconds, 6/100ths outside the lead, which is still Varalati's. Herod Badenhorst striding to the start.
But truck pulling, you know, favours the heavier men. It's something I've really worked hard all year. I couldn't have done any more.
The strong hands of the South African. Now, Herod Badenhorst is heavier than Gary, and like Taylor, he's very mobile, so I think we can expect a fast time. It looks slow, but it's a very smooth pickup by Herod. He's going well. He certainly is going well. Look at this. He's absolutely steaming down the course, almost getting faster at the finish. He's keeping a perfect straight line. The fastest so far, 33.26 seconds. That is phenomenal. Smooth, straight and rhythmical. That is a lesson for all the rest.
I don't know what the other guy's going to do, but 3 seconds better than Gary's time. I don't think it's too bad.
Heinz Olesch will be up next, starting his campaign to become the world's strongest man.
Ready? Hit the strain.
He really did take the strain there, well before the off, just to make sure there was plenty of tension on the rope. The big German, though, moving well. This is fast, there's no doubt about that. Gary Taylor's going to be watching this time carefully. There's only about 5 meters to go, and he's not slowing. 34.64, he's in second place, ahead of Gary Taylor. Heinz, congratulations, second
Thanks.
place so far. Was that a surprise?
Good start, but there are 3 to go, but I think it's okay.
Wayne Price, the first of those 3. That's a very long pull to start with. He must have been taking tips from fellow South African Herod Badenhorst. Price looking tiny against the bulk of the engine. Every inch a muscle man as well as a strong man, and he needs to be to get 70,000 pounds of steel moving fast. It's not going to win, but how close to the top 3 can he get? 37.2, in fact, he's in 6th place.
They got heavy traction, heavy fire engines at Bahamas, that's for sure.
He's not kidding, as Magnus Ver Magnusson will soon find out in defence of his title. One thing is for sure, Magnus's preparation for this competition will have been absolutely immaculate down to the finest detail. Climbing boots once again. Can they help him propel him to the fastest time? Herod hopes not, because he's still in the lead. But this is a great show by Magnus, and it's going to be very close. 34.37 seconds, he's in second place, and Big Heinz is shunted down to 3rd. The final competitor in the first of our 8 events, the massive Joe Onosai. Well, you heard Joe at the start. If he does well in this event, he thinks he can win the whole competition. He's really pouring it on. The cooler conditions will be to Joe's liking. He doesn't like the heat. Now come on, Joe, a big effort, but I think he's going to be outside Herod's time.
I'm struggling now. I think I got it.
I think Herod is dead right, and Joe is struggling badly, starved of oxygen, and he's had enough. Oh, steady on, Joe. Jim Pollock trying to hold him up, and that's not easy. A little concerned, perhaps, but he's okay, but he'll be very disappointed. Congratulations on your first win. A big South African smile for us.
Yes.
Well done.
South Africa. Thank you.
So Herod Badenhorst gets off to a flying start and lies top of the table. Welshman Gary Taylor is 5th, but Joe Onosai, so confident of winning at the start, comes in last. For event 2, we've come to Paradise Island, which lies alongside New Providence. Down on the beach, the stage is set for the car rolling contest.
And it's Joe Onosai and Phil Martin up first for another devilish test devised by referee Dr. Douglas Edmonds. Two standard saloon cars weighing nearly 3/4 of a ton to be turned through 360 degrees in the fastest possible time. Onosai fully recovered now. Both he and Martin needing better points here. Martin is going well. And Joe Onosai is somewhere behind there. But it's Phil Martin who's just got the edge. This event is very heavy on the hands. One more big push should do it. And away he comes. Joe not far behind. Phil in at about 26 seconds. Joe at 29.26. The marshal there in the white t-shirt, there to ensure the car doesn't fall back on the competitors. That's going to be the hardest part, the last 180 degrees.
It doesn't look as though it's the sort of event you can go into a gym and train for.
No, it sure isn't.
A lot of
I could probably do it during commuting, though, I think.
Wayne Price on this side, and Flemming Rasmussen up next. The competitors going in reverse order from their positions in the last event. And both men looking good here. The soft sand must make it so much harder than doing it on tarmac. And here they come. It's Wayne Price by a whisker with a much faster time than the last heat. 15.99 seconds.
Yes, come on, let's go.
Gary Taylor and Magnus Samuelsson. And there's Mum Roz with the flag that she hopes will wave a bit of magic for her boy. Gary, very experienced here. Magnus, the first time he's done this event. Well, Gary is a tremendous weightlifter in the gym. He won't find this first part difficult. Come on now, Magnus. And Gary Taylor is well on his way. Look at this, he's sprinting like crazy, 15.87 seconds. Samuelsson, 18.64. Taylor full of confidence there, and Magnus was well beaten. Well, the sprinting may not have been textbook stuff, but even Linford Christie would have been impressed with his total commitment.
Being short doesn't really help with initial pull. I lost about 2 seconds fighting with initial start. Once I got it going, no problem. I wish I was 7'2". That would have been my mother, I think.
The man on the far side there, Marco Varalati, is pretty close. He's 6'7". Heinz Olesch, a mere 6'2". And that was some time that Taylor has set. But Olesch really flying here, just flipping it over nice and easy. Varalati too. And both men heading for the finish. This is incredible. It's Varalati and both men inside the leader's time. Marco's coach will be delighted, says well done to Heinz. But look at this, the Finn winning by the narrowest of margins. So what can Magnus and Herrit do now?
This year, I'm faster than normal. And I think I can compare more to Magnus's overall strength and speed. So I think I'm going to give him a run for his money this year.
I think Magnus will know that now, having lost the first event to the South African. Herrit on this side, goes at it like a raging bull. There's no petrol or glass in those cars for safety reasons, but the engine is still there. Badenhorst is away, going for the line. Magnus is chasing. They're going to finish first and second, but Herrit Badenhorst is in pain. Victory number 2, but at what cost?
Well, points after that challenge aren't very different to event 1. Gary Taylor, known to be a slow starter, is again 5th, for Magnussen is 2nd, but first, despite problems, Herrit Badenhorst.
And I had to squat down quite deep on this, and when I squat down and took it from the ground, it just like two muscles doing that. But hopefully the physio doing a good job for me, and hopefully we can just maintain and keep on with it.
Badenhorst leads by 2 over the reigning champion. Olesch and Varalati in their first final, they're tied for 3rd. But Joe Onosai, finding life very difficult indeed, he lies at the foot of the table. One big name missing from that list altogether is that of one of the most charismatic figures in strength, Austria's Manfred Herbel, the man with the biggest biceps in the world. After finishing 2nd last year in a nail-biting finish with Magnus in Sun City, Manfred suffered a near-fatal car crash in Germany.
I actually don't know how the accident then happened. I just remember coming off the road and moving towards a big tree and that was the end of it. I crashed into the tree, and they had to cut me out of the car, and I really don't remember exactly. It took such a long time. The accident happened in April, and I spent 10 weeks in hospital then. I spent 10 weeks in hospital now for the second operation, so time factor is the nerve-wracking one. As you can see, I lost something like 90 pounds over those 6 to 8 months I've been around in hospital. So obviously I did not just lose on my legs and on my chest, I lost it on my arms too, but I can assure all my fans and friends I'll be back.
A confident pledge from the man who has many fans. But now it's on to event 3, the Flintstone barbell. Gary, this event should be yours, shouldn't it?
If it isn't, I'm going home. If I don't win, I'm 100% confident winning this event. If I don't, then I don't deserve to be here. I'm the current world record holder in this event, so it suits me down to the earth. The tall boys have had their day, now let's have the shorties in.
Joe on a sign now at 190 kilos. He must be feeling dejected. He was so confident at the start, but he's had last place in 2 events. It's not even resting on his shoulders. Oh, very easy indeed. Much, much better. This by far his best event. And by contrast, Marco's worst. Well, you heard what Gary said about this event. His best is way over 200 kilos, so this should be no problem. That's the equivalent of 2 14-stone men. Oh, very easy, and a lot more to come. Hercules Baden-Horst once again in a lot of pain after that last lift. And this is a big jump from 170 kilograms. The split under the bar is going to be the hardest part. Oh, no. That won't have done the injury any good at all. Magnus still in this contest, but Herriot has lifted his last barbell. Phil Martin now at the same weight, 190 kilos. Doesn't waste any time getting under the bar. Oh, just manages to lock out. He gets it. Wayne Price now for what would be a lifetime best performance. This is one exercise you could actually practice in the gymnasium. It's so much like weightlifting. He's been training with the best weightlifter here. That's Gary, of course, so he must have picked up a few hints. There's Jamie Reeve, the former world's strongest man, just standing behind. He needs to straighten up. Oh, he did his best. He's out of the competition. And Joe Onosai watching and waiting for his next attempt. Magnus now trying to equal his lifetime best. We saw him practicing this in the gym in Heat 1, and he looked in great form. The first time this event has ever been in World's Strongest Man, it is a great test of strength and power. Oh, yes! Well done, says Ollie the Icelander. And the rest ponder on a man who's really in form.
This is more than I've done in training anyway. So that's why I'm delighted with it.
To go up a couple of places, it certainly looks as though you're going to have to go up some considerable weight now because of Gary and Joe and so on, but you've just got the one attempt left.
Yeah.
So what do you think you're going to go for?
I haven't decided yet.
That's actually very good tactics by Magnus. They're limited to just 5 attempts, so you want to see what the rest can do. And the first to try 200 kilos is Phil Martin. Not quite. Oh, he threw it a long way. But Phil has done well in this contest. That's Asda, Magnus's girlfriend. And 200 kilograms the target to go into the lead. He takes a very wide grip on the bar. Oh, that's a fantastic push with the arms and the legs. Everyone's happy now. The weight is increased. Conventional weights on the outside of those rocks for Joe at 205 kilos, 450 pounds. If If he gets this, he can't finish any worse than second, providing, of course, Gary goes higher. Goodness knows what it feels like with this weight bearing down on your neck and shoulders. Just a little twitch of the legs, and now the push with the arms. Oh, here we go. Oh, well done, Joe. The challenge is set in no uncertain fashion.
Hopefully tomorrow will be a better day. Had a slow start. I think we'll start going up this way now.
Well, Gary Taylor was adamant he would be on his way home if he didn't win this one. And this is 210 kilos for the win, because Joe has decided no more. And look at that, it was so easy. The challenge is thrown back. Well done, says Mum. Maximum points for Gary, and it looks so easy.
What did you say?
Well, what a reversal of fortune. Herriot Badenhorst, winner of the first two events, comes in 6th. Joe Onosai, last in both, is 2nd. And Gary Taylor, who said he could do it, wins.
Gary, was that a new Welsh hacker?
Hard one to follow, the Joe one, isn't it? But nah, easy lift, so no problem.
And it certainly has made a difference, moving the Welshman up into 3rd place. Joe Onosai moves off the bottom. He's gone up a couple of places. Magnus Magnusson is on top for the first time, just a single point ahead of Herriot Badenhorst. Magnus, 20 kilos above your best ever for that lift, and I think that must be bad news for the other competitors.
Yeah, I really needed the points against Herriot, so I picked them up now. So I just have to keep on going.
For the next event, we've come here to the centre of the Bahamian capital, Nassau. Now, until 1973, the Bahamas were governed by Britain, and this particular area of the city still retains much of its colonial architecture, and it provides the backdrop for the next event, the Farmer's Walk.
Each man must carry 2 gas cylinders weighing 115 kilograms each over the 70-metre course in the fastest possible time. 5 men in each heat, led on here by Wayne Price, with Badenhorst, Varalati, Olesh and Samuelson on the far side. This event tests each man's grip to the limit. The cylinders each weigh the same as a 17.5 stone man. Balance is obviously very important as well, and it's Varalati who's really flying down the course. Badenhorst is the nearest to the fin, but look at Varalati go. He must cross the yellow line, he gets the signal from the judge, and off we go again. Well, this heat is about one man and one man only. Marco Varalati in his first final is on his way to setting a time which the next 5 competitors are going to find so hard to beat. About 2 meters from the finish. Oh, he keeps going. Just over 30 seconds. The rest are nowhere. Look at that, they're spread out all over the course. Herriot clearly in second place. And Wayne Price staggering about behind him. Herritt's going to finish though. His hands must be burning. Samuelson and the rest finding it so hard. Oh my goodness. Price is just over halfway. Olesh, in fact, the closest to the finish of those three. And that's it. And it just shows how good Varalati was. They've all given up now, so the tapes will have to come out to measure how far they managed. Varalati and Badenhorst, the only two to complete the course.
When I turned there and I saw the other guys putting it down, I was surprised because, you know, normally this is a bad event for me.
Gary and the rest on course to complete this event. Taylor's grip in his left hand has suffered due to injury in recent years, and I just wonder how Joe will cope with the stamina side of this contest. Gary and Magnus are well away. Rasmussen on the far side. They're the first three at the moment. But Taylor and Magnussen streaking ahead. This looks good for Gary Taylor. Fleming the first to drop his cylinders. These two the slow turn, and Gary goes down, so Magnus gets away. Magnus hanging on. Taylor in pursuit. Joe Onosai is struggling. They can all just stand and stare as Magnussen heads towards the finish, but he's gone down as well. Just a few more yards for the Icelander. It's a good time, nowhere near Marco, but he beats Badenhorst. Now come on, Gary. Oh dear me, the agony. A cheeky little grin there from Marco, who knows he's won this contest, and there's Phil Martin just ahead of Rasmussen. Herritt beaten for the second time by Magnus. Gary Taylor just a few more steps to the finish. He's staggering all over the place. Oh, this is so dramatic. Surely just two more steps would do it. Come on now, Gary, this is for good points. Fleming Rasmussen on the far side, a last gasp attempt at a couple more points. He goes past Martin, and that looks as though it's the end for all of them. Perhaps the toughest event so far. Unless you've carried two fridge freezers down the road, one in each hand, I don't suppose you can appreciate what it must feel like. Look at Phil Martin being supported there by Wayne Price. He's totally exhausted.
Bit of Welsh pride there. I'm not a good farmer's walk, as you've seen in the past. I just needed the points. I gave it 120%. I couldn't have got any more.
That extreme effort by Gary Taylor has given him a respectable fourth place. The exhausted American Phil Martin comes fifth, but a first win for slim Finn Marco Varalati.
Kyllä mä tiesin, että tää on mun paras laji ja en usko muita kuin Magnus ainut, ketä voi rikkoa ton ajan.
That win by Varalati moves him up from fifth into fourth, with Gary Taylor just managing to stay ahead of him. So at the halfway stage, Magnus Bear Magnussen an extra point ahead of Herritt Badenhorst in second place.
4 events gone. Is that the sort of lead you would have expected at this stage?
Not quite.
Well, I didn't really expect anything on this stage.
The Bahamas are made up of more than 700 islands, which sit above numerous coral reefs. Paradise for divers like me. When offered the chance to explore some of them, how could I possibly refuse? So a group of us headed out into the Atlantic Ocean for what was to become a wonderful underwater adventure. I found myself in paradise, surrounded by coral gardens and fish of every shape and colour. They included a large shoal of Caribbean reef sharks, but thankfully it wasn't us they wanted. Our dive guide had brought them a basket of fish, which proved far more attractive. In fact, sharks, though they can be dangerous, rarely hurt people unless they're provoked. The majestic creatures were a wonderful sight. But for those who prefer to keep their distance, it is possible to see sharks in the Bahamas in a safer environment. The Atlantis Resort on Paradise Island contains a massive underwater aquarium, and this is where some of the strongmen chose to come to see the creatures at first hand. Here you find yourself surrounded by all manner of marine life. For people who don't dive, it provides a perfect opportunity to get close to some of the creatures the Bahamas has to offer. Atlantis is a huge holiday complex and a popular destination for people from around the world. There's a multitude of things to do and see, but with temperatures soaring to around 90 degrees, it's perhaps not surprising that many of them are water-based. For many people, that means lazing by a pool or on the beach under the welcome shade of a palm tree.
However, before we start the next event, there are danger signs in the air and the sea that storms may be approaching. We're tossing the caber for height this time, and a bit of practice and coaching required by all the men. Now, you're the world record holder in this event, so rather like the overhead press, are you feeling confident?
Well, actually, this is a whole new event because the tide's coming in. And you kind of, I think in about 15 minutes, we're going to need a snorkel and flippers to be turning this caber.
I'm not sure Fleming has ever seen a caber, let alone thrown one, but he's getting to grips with it quite well here. Jamie Reeve there, once again on hand as usual, to give a little advice and encouragement. Here we go. It'll be slow to start with, building up a bit of speed. It's over, and that will be Fleming's final result. He's had the maximum number of throws allowed in this competition. Well, Phil Martin has a lot of experience in this discipline, so he should be okay. I'll tell you what, the tide is coming in as we speak. There were some flowers around the base of that stand before we started. Oh, he didn't seem to get a good run at it. His second failure, so he goes out of the competition. Herod Badenhorst now feeling battered and bruised from his exploits in the first 4 events, but he doesn't seem to be in very much pain today. Oh yes, he's obviously back to his best, and I think he knows it. Well, I tell you what, there aren't many trees in Iceland, so the only real practice Magnus gets is when he comes to the Highland Games circuit in Scotland. This is the same height as Badenhorst. I wonder if he could clear it without banging the frame. Nobody has done that yet. He's in control. Well, he hits it hard, but it's good. No histrionics, just solid competitive efforts from the Iceman. Up we go to 5 meters 45. That's nearly 18 feet. So it's down to Herritt and Magnus once again. These two guys certainly the class act so far, always finishing in the top 3 places. Herritt is a great all-round sportsman and a great sport. He'd love to win this one. Oh, I think he's done it. The caber just about climbed over. Now, how can Magnus respond to that?
Magnus is such a good athlete and can concentrate fantastically. But
if he doesn't get it, you've won this competition, Harry.
Won this competition, and I will creep nearer to him.
Oh yes, the points are shared.
He is fantastic. Well done, Magnus.
Magnus producing another great performance just when it mattered. And the first time a contest has been drawn between 2 men this year. Wayne Price achieving his best score, but training partner Gary Taylor getting his lowest finish. Herod Badenhorst showing tremendous respect to the defending champion, but he'll be looking for revenge in the next event.
The question everybody's asking now is, can anyone stop defending champion Magnus for Magnusson from holding on to his title? The South African Herritt Badenhorst is certainly in with a fighting chance, but former champion Gary Taylor's facing an uphill struggle.
to the beach for event number 6, a brand new version of an old favourite. Tradition has been transformed thanks to a little bit of ingenuity, and now we have the naval tug of war. The draw has been based upon finishing positions in the last event, and that meant Gary Taylor having to go through a qualifying contest which he lost, so poor points once again for Gary. And as we come to the final between Heinz Olesch and Wayne Price, who's heading towards another good set of points. There's a good atmosphere here for this event. Both men this time actually facing towards each other, so no advantage to either in terms of a surprise move by one of them. Olesch seems to be just ahead. Both men really digging into the sand for a bit of extra grip. Wayne with football boots on, that's a smart move. Two men locked together, both wanting their first win in the final. And two very tired men as well. There's not very much time to go, just under 10 seconds, and Heinz may just be in the lead. What on earth is the decision going to be this time? It's very tight. Olesch gets it, 10 points for the big German. Both men delighted with their biggest points haul in the final so far.
So Olesch and Price, first and second, and after much deliberation, the referee decided for Magnusson and Badenhorst drew, so both share third place.
Heinz, you look exhausted. How do you feel?
I'm exhausted.
But smiling because you've got your first win.
Yeah, and important points, I think.
It has made a lot of difference to the overall point situation. Do you feel that now you can move up the points table even higher?
I don't know the next events, but after this I can't feel my legs, and in the squat is following, and I don't know what happens.
Overall, the top two stay the same with a big lead over the next four. Varalati heads that group with Olesch, Taylor and Price all very close together with just two very hard events to go.
Well, the weather's still pretty cloudy and changeable, although it's extremely hot and close, which the strongmen have to contend with in event 7, the platform lift. Getting kitted out is Gary Taylor from Wales, who's the first to try his hand at this challenge.
And here's the situation so far at 352 kilograms. 5 men eliminated, including Varalati, Olesch and Price. So with the weight increased to 382.5, it's Gary who will attempt it first. That beige leotard he's wearing, it's similar to the sort of thing you see in an aerobics lesson, but it's about 40 times thicker to support the body which is under so much strain. When he goes down, his thighs must be parallel to the ground. Off he goes, and that's a good lift. It's local school children on top of the platform providing a weight, but that's the equivalent to over 3 20-stone men. Garrett, can you go higher?
Yeah, a little bit more there. I think Joe's made a big mistake jumping at 50 kilo. He's looking strong. The problem is, as the weight gets heavier, those bars bend. It's a different feel completely.
Well, he was mentioning Joe deciding to give this one a miss. He's going to go for over 400, so the next one will be Flemming Rasmussen, stepping up to take 382. Like Gary, a thick nylon suit and very heavy strapping to protect the knees. I think the cap is just for good luck. Off we go. He's bending his back a lot. Oh, he's slowly down, and he got stuck just a little too much for the Dane. Hercules Badenhorst up now, former world champion in powerlifting. He should feel at ease with this, providing the injuries have healed up. Totally under control, just touches the metal pins. That's a really solid lift. He looks as though he's treading very carefully because of that injury.
I just feel if everything is just hanging in all muscle.
Magnus Sverre Magnusson now almost waddling to the platform because of all the strapping he's wearing. Like Herritt, he's got a background in powerlifting where the squat is one of the 3 disciplines along with the deadlift and bench press. Total focus on the job to be done by Magnus. Oh, that's the best so far, without a doubt. Magnus keeping the pressure on the rest. Well, young lady, we can work out exactly how much you weigh. 407 kilos, the weight. And here comes the funny walk once again. The psyching up process finished. Gary Taylor actually thought this may be too big an increase for anybody, let alone Joe. His last successful lift was at 350. He's got to get this one, otherwise he's lost a lot of points. It was very fast down and there was a sticking point. Onasai bows out of the competition.
Come on, Taylor, come on!
But Gary has said it all. He needs this one.
Oh, strong tight, strong tight.
That's Coach Mark giving the same message. 895 pounds. It's up, it's tremendous. Herod, who's up next, just being helped by Berend Venenberg.
I said I'd show my strength. I'm just pleased to show it.
A couple of disappointments before this event, but now you're coming back stronger.
I've always said, power, strength, I'll be there with the best. Just all these other ones let me down.
Still this big question mark about Herod's fitness. His groin and the top of his thigh have massive bruises from his earlier efforts. Slowly does it now. Just sliding it back up. A tremendous lift. A contrast in styles to Gary Taylor, but just as effective.
But it's getting easier.
If they are getting any easier, it's bad news for this man, Magnus Ver Magnusson. He just takes a last-minute check, and away we go. Oh, that looks so easy. No problem at all. This man means business, and Taylor knows it. Well, Gary Taylor has actually decided to pass on this next weight, 437.5 kilos, getting on towards 1,000 pounds. I think he's just going to wait and see what Herod and Magnus do before making any unnecessary efforts. If Herod was fully fit, I don't think this weight would bother him at all. So let's see what happens. Oh, he gets a bit stuck there. He's trying to push it again. He lost it. Oh, mind your head. But here comes the familiar smile. He might be in pain, but he gave Taylor a bit of a fright. And Gary, the first to say, good effort. Well, Gary Taylor, in fact, has decided not to carry on. So he and Herrick will share points. But this is Magnus going for yet another win. Let's just watch this real pro at work. He's got a real knack of getting it right when it matters. Oh, it's perfect. His supporters are going to go crazy.
A superb performance from Iceland's Magnus Ver Magnusson. It was the defending champion's second win of the competition so far. Gary Taylor shares second place with South Africa's Herrick Badenhorst.
Herrick, I know victory was important there, but Magnus was terrific.
Well, you know, they always say that Magnus is just a speed athlete and with, you know, good in the loading and good in running and his fitness, but I think Magnus proved us wrong. He's the best all-round strength athlete in the world. And I didn't see a man of his weight squat that weight in my life before.
Perhaps a hint that Herod has conceded even before the last event. The gap has certainly grown at the top, so Magnus must be favourite to win. Gary Taylor back up to third again, but Olesh and Varalahti are in contention for that spot as well. Can anybody win this apart from Magnus Ver Magnusson?
Well, anything can still happen. I won't know until after the last event, and but I hope it keeps up this way.
The climax to World's Strongest Man, 1995, it's the Maritime Medley. A number of assorted seafaring objects to be lifted onto the platform at varying heights in the fastest possible time. Well, Onasai and Samuelson have already gone, so it's Phil Martin and Wayne Price who go. Both men have given good value in their first Strongest Man final. The first object, a rather soggy sack filled with 90 kilograms of sand. And that's got to go onto the highest plinth, although they can choose which object goes where. The sun is out once again, and so the rest of the competitors staying in the shade. Now to this seaman's chest, which weighs in at just over 70 kilos. Price going very well. Oh, and Martin nearly threw that one up. Now for the barrel at 60 kilograms. It's not so much the weight which is the problem, it's more the shape. They must make sure that they stay on the platform. Martin going well once again, and now Price with the anchor weighing at 110 kilos. That's really awkward to lift and carry. And now the chains for Price. Each link weighing 50 kilos, so 250 in total. And that's going to be extremely hard. Price almost saying, what do I do next? But Martin's got the knack, he's going to finish. And I think Price has had enough. Good effort by Martin. I wonder if they want to borrow an anchor. Varalati and Rasmussen now. Like the last two, making their debut in the final. In the whole competition, in fact. And don't forget, it's Varalati who could really put the pressure on Gary Taylor for that third spot. Now these two guys are tall. If they've got problems with these sacks, I wonder how the rest will get on. Rasmussen gets it up first, and Gary getting a few tips from Mum. No matter what happens, I think these two will be back next year. They've put on a very good show. Rasmussen, the former Danish 10-pin bowling champion, would you believe? And as far as Varalati is concerned, well, the Finns have always had great competitors in this competition. And with a bit more experience, he could be their first ever champion. Ditto Rasmussen if he keeps on going. And Varalati now with a very fast time. Look, he's dragging those chains well. And Marco is going to set Gary Taylor a difficult task. Rasmussen too. I think Varalati's going to win this one. It's going to be well inside the time, 1:17.64. That's a marvellous performance by the Finn. Fleming, glad it's all over. He doesn't complete the course. Gary Taylor is going to try desperately to hang on to third place. If he can get close to Marco's time and stay close to Heinz Olesch here, I think it's going to be enough. But this sack is going to be a big test. Taylor some 8 inches shorter than Varalati. Olesch has got no problems, he's away. But look at this. Gary Taylor's hopes of glory are disappearing fast. Oh, this is desperate, and Mum knows it. Olesch going very well indeed. Heinz certainly capable of overtaking Gary in the overall standings. Gary could in fact go round the side or just dump it on one of the lower plinths to get things underway. It's the anchor now for Olesch, but look at Taylor. Oh, I hope that clunk was the anchor landing and not Gary's head banging against the wall. Olesch now on the chains, but after all the efforts in the previous 7 events, the culprit is a meager 200-pound sack. Gary can't believe it. Olesch is continuing. He can't quite get those chains onto the plinth. Gary's world's strongest man is over, that's for sure. Goodness knows what will happen in the overall point standing, but both men totally exhausted.
It's my own fault. Should have tried another way getting it up there.
You tried just about everywhere there was. You were just telling me you tried to head it up there.
I tried to jump with it, I tried to throw it up, I tried to head it up. It's just the wall was just too high, physically too high for me.
And for the 4th year in succession, it's down to the final pairing to decide the title. World's strongest man. Herred Badenhorst against Magnus Ver Magnusson. It seems impossible that Magnus Ver Magnusson can be prevented from becoming the first man to win 2 years in succession. Badenhorst would have to produce something special. Magnusson, though, gets that sack up first attempt. Herred Badenhorst, he's having the same problems as Gary Taylor. These two men, not the biggest men in the competition, but certainly the best all-rounders who've demonstrated skill, strength and determination. Here goes the barrel. Easy. Oh, the commentator spoke too soon. The barrel is going off. It will have to go back up on the plinth. So Herrit has a chance to catch up just a little bit. Magnusson trying to get the anchor on. A little glance across there from Herrit. I wonder what's going through his mind. Now Magnus must go for this barrel and get it up safely. Herrit must do the same. Gary Taylor could have taken that route with the sack. Now for the chain for Magnus Magnusson. The anchor for Badenhorst. Just one small step here for Magnusson to become champion again. Badenhorst looks as though he's destined to finish in second place, but Magnusson is the champion. There's no doubt about that. Champion for the third time in his life, but this the most important of them all. Gracious in defeat, South Africa says well done to Iceland. You are the very best.
Finland's Marco Varilahti gets his second win of the contest, but more significantly, Herrit's 7th place and Magnus's 2nd means it's Magnus Magnusson from Iceland who takes the final.
The mental and physical effort of 8 events takes its toll, but victory is very sweet indeed. Magnus will enjoy looking back on that scoreboard where the final margin of victory was decisive. Varilahti's win in the final event takes him onto the winner's rostrum in 3rd, but Gary, so frustrated, ends up in 6th place.
This is altogether 7 days of competition for the world's strongest man. I would say that's hardest ever.
Well, Magnus, world's strongest man again. Enjoy the feeling for the next 12 months. Well done.
Thanks.
I really pulled it off quite good, 2nd place. I showed the people down in my country that I'm still the strongest man there, and I did it for them, did it for my country. The strongest man, 2nd strongest man in the world. I feel very, very proud about it.
The celebrations begin, which salute one of the all-time greats and our champion for 1995, Magnus Magnusson.